So you always do it through Google, huh? Like you
Yeah,
always do this? That's pretty cool.
it's just like the only when I thought to do virtual, just since I do like Google Hangouts and Google Meets through work, it was just like the quickest and like, oh, let me just set that up. How do you usually set it up?
I usually use Zoom, so that's why I was
Oh,
asking you.
okay.
But I use Google a ton, but I don't know how to. I don't use Chrome. That's what it is. So I don't use Chrome. So I don't know if I can record like a video chat like this unless I use Chrome. I think, or are you using Chrome, right?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's
definitely using Chrome.
that's what it is. I just don't use Chrome. So, and I refuse. I don't refuse to use Chrome. I just don't. I just use Safari, whatever.
Interesting.
And that's
That's
why.
interesting.
And that I know that's a whole conversation. I should probably ask. That's like a weekly poll question right there. What
Yeah,
browser do
which
you use?
yeah, because I'll honestly be surprised. The PC that I have, I think it's just like what is it, the Explorer? Like it's just like the one that's like shaped like a E.
Yeah, Internet Explorer. That's what
Yeah,
it's called.
nah, bro. I would much rather die than use that, honestly. Do I sound cool though, audio wise?
Yeah, you sound buttery.
All right, bet. All right. I ain't gonna scream. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. All right, man. All right, what's going on, man? It's your boy Kreativekloth, and I'm back with another video, man. Look, if I'm not starting somewhere, I am not going
Oh yeah.
nowhere. Back to it. And this is gonna be another segment of Cloth Talk. And again, Cloth Talk is just where I'm grabbing the article titles from Hypebeast, Complex, and it's revolving around sneakers and fashion, all that jazz that I love. But let me not waste no time. Let me go ahead and introduce this man. But let me say this first. Bro, you want to talk about like full circle moments? Remember when you interviewed me for your podcast?
Of course.
Like
How could I
way long
forget?
time ago? I was living in my mom's crib. I didn't even have a YouTube channel. And now I'm like interviewing you, even though it's like kind of like a different setup, but
Yeah.
it's just crazy how all this kind of plays out. But this is gonna be, you can't open your Explore page if you have to know this man. I'm talking blown up, still humble, real charming. Quick question for you, real quick. 101, me and you versus basketball. Who winning?
That's not a question. It's 11 zip. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's not even a question.
We got my man Drew Joyner on the podcast. What's going on with you, man?
I'm good, man. It's good to be on Cloth Talk, man. It really is a true full circle moment from me having you on my podcast to even where I was at, as a creative, as an online personality at that point in time to where I am now. There's been some growing. And what's cool is that we've actually had the opportunity to meet each other in person in Austin, which was like a super cool moment with Lucas Cash. And that's special to me. But I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. And I always tell people this, it's so dope. You meet people from online and like, yeah, you don't know these people. You only interact with them through like DMs or comments. But then when you meet people in person, they're exactly who they are in person. It's no better feeling than that. Cause it's like, you can meet someone, they're like, oh, this guy's kind of weird. But like when I met you, it was like we was like homies already. Like it didn't take much for us to kind of like start cracking jokes and like just start talking about all this stuff. I thought it was really dope how we
For sure.
kind of just it did no easing process.
I have to tell you, a lot of times, I don't know if your audience knows this, but obviously, if you know me, I'm Drew Joyner, Drew What to Do, whatever. When I travel, I try to bring my girlfriend Lauren with me. And my girlfriend had the chance to meet you as well. And of all the fashion folks that we've met a lot. She still talks about how funny and how like natural of a dude you were. Like that's literally and when I think about it more and more, you're right. Like it's cool to be able to meet people who you see online and everything lines up exactly the way you would think it would line up. And you're definitely also one of those very authentic, funny, like you can just see it through your videos. And that's why I root for you so heavy, because I want more of your type of energy in the space.
No, I appreciate that highly, man. Shout out to your girlfriend. She's super dope. And honestly, I wish the best for both of y'all. I don't like it's
Thank you, brother.
It's just crazy how like, you know, seeing when we all kind of like, especially like the people that we connected with, we all kind of started off in the same space. But we'll jump into that towards the tail end. Let's go ahead and jump into these topics. Sure. And because it's some good ones in here. So let's jump into that first topic. All right. So this article title reads, release info for the Mischief's new 2x4 boot. I just want to get, what is your opinion on these? You know, Mischief is known for these, you know, big red boot, the shoe where you could kind of carve it and make your own. So like, what do you make, being in New York now, what do you make of the 2x4 boot from Mischief?
Yeah, man, this is crazy. And they have Spike Lee, legendary film director Spike Lee, as the model for this, which is kind of like a crazy cosign to begin with. That's the first thing I think about. The whole thing is crazy. The whole thing is just like, it's like the loudest in your face kind of shoe. But then you get someone as iconic as Spike Lee, and it kind of puts this weird cosign to it that like it kind of just, my brain goes, it doesn't really add up in a lot of ways. I would say, bro, this is insane. This is right in line with what they did last year with the big red boot to me. Obviously, the Timberland is a very popular boot right now. And yeah, bro, this is crazy. This is next level crazy, attention grabbing crazy.
No, facts. I think the saving grace for it from my peer, because I think these are, I mean, look, bro, I'm not wearing them, and I think they're absolutely ridiculous. I think the saving grace for this is not only did they get Spike Lee to co-sign it, they also got his daughter to go in on, like, I think the overall direction for this too. I thought that was dope too, bringing in not just Spike Lee and only wanting him for his name, but also bringing in his daughter and bringing in his family. So I think it also adds that additional touch that you mentioned.
For sure. No, there's another thing I'm thinking about with this too, bro, is that as crazy as this 2x4 is,
that's a crazy name.
That's a crazy name too. Like 2x4, like that's just like, it's just hilarious. It kind of has a different feeling and effect compared to last year with the big red boot. And I think the reason that is because you can try to be the most, you can be the loudest person in the room. Let me say this again. You can only be the loudest person in the room and get everyone's attention to the same level on the first impression. I think even though Mischief has done other things that have, like the Blurred Money and just other shoes, like the I can't even remember, like the Vans they did or the Converse. I don't even know the wavy shoes or whatever they were called. Like those are crazy. But I think the big red boot was a true big cultural moment. Like it was on like news channels. It was every social media post was the big red boots, and it was something crazy. I think now we are living in a time period where, you know, obviously like it's only a year later, but like it's advanced to the level where, you know, there are a lot of other brands who are doing things that are just crazy, right? Whether it's like the Bear mules that came out from a super small brand, or like Louis Vuitton did like the skin color, like heel type things that I don't even know what they're called. But there's a lot of brands competing for this like hyper realistic, almost video game, social media, like for social media fashion kind of genre. And while these are definitely crazy, like just insane, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, this could be a bad take, but right now it feels like it's lesser than what the big red boot was a year ago.
Oh, absolutely. I think this is probably, of all the Mischiefs ones that I've seen so far, this might be, although they are crazy, these might be the most wearable ones, because it doesn't really, like, it's still a Timberland in its essence, but like it didn't really change it much other than like that upper and like the tongue being just the sole of the shoe. Like this is probably the most wearable one, and people are going to probably wear this one more than they do, because it's been like a year. I still haven't seen those big red boots in person ever. Yeah. Never seen them in person.
I've never seen them in person. And I've been in New York City now for 6 months. And obviously they were a bit more popular towards the beginning of last year, but like I've seen the Apple Vision Pro in person. I've never seen these big red boots in person. But
yeah. I don't really know what their end goal is with this, but I'll tell you what is, how do I want to phrase that? Because these are going to retail for $400. And at what point is the price of something, giving how like crazy it is, like would you pay $400 for this boot?
Never. I mean, you would be hard pressed to make me pay $20 for this boot. I'm serious. No, for real. It's true. I mean, it's just not my style. I have a pair of Timbs. They're not even in this room right now, but I have a pair of Timbs, and they were, I'll be frank, they were given to me by Timberlands because I went to the Timberland event. And while I think Timberlands are a New York icon, East Coast icon, fashion icon, and obviously they're having a moment right now, I'm not like, my style doesn't really, it's not like, doesn't jive well with Tim's very well. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a cool thing. I've seen people style and pull it off very well. I just know that that's not my lane. I also know it's a trendy item, and like people want to talk about trends. People want to know about trends. So I might make a video about, sizing or, what to do, maybe a couple how to style videos because I have them in my arsenal, but like, it's not something I step out of the house and wear every single day. That's just not me. And so you take Timberlands and you turn the notch until it's literally, you break the freaking notch like to make a pair of boots, which is what these are. And nah, I'm not going to wear these. They would be fun to like hold and look at.
Yeah.
They probably are heavy and they look crazy, but it's not me. It's not me.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I didn't even think about it going into this, but like, no, Timberland is actually having like a huge moment because they had the Louis Vuitton. Yep. They also had like the glazed donut joints with the black and the other color. They
Supreme
got these
too?
Supreme. They got these, and then there's one. I don't think this is actually a collab with them though, so I don't want to necessarily rope that in. But it is a Timberland inspired type shoe. They absolutely are having a moment. And I remember when that first started, I was like, are people really rocking Timbs again?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how far it's come.
This is crazy. This is fun. It's crazy, but it's different. It's Mischief.
So what purpose do you think, after the whole thing with the big red boot, what purpose do you think this serves? Do you think this is a good for like fashion sneakers, or do you think this is necessarily a bad for fashion and sneakers when it comes to like the big red boot, the wavy Vans, the Timberland upper end bottom? I don't know. I don't know what to call this just yet.
2x4 joint, man.
Yeah, and the waffle joints.
Yeah, exactly. These look like the I don't even know, bro. It's crazy.
It's wild. I can't describe it.
Yeah, I can't describe it either. Is it good or bad for sneakers and fashion, man? That's a tough question. I think I would lean more towards the side of it's bad. And I don't want someone at Mischief to hear me say that, or someone who's part of that can't be like, yo, like what Drew Joyner is always hating on us, because I call the big red boots bad in some regards too. But I think it's bad is an interesting term. I think it is what it is, if that makes sense, right? Like we're in a time period where shoes like this exist, and I believe they exist for clicks, likes, views on social media, right? That's the point of this. I don't think anyone in their right mind is an envisioning of this shoe and being like, yo, like we wanted this shoe to come out because I wanted to style this boot. Like I needed a boot like this to style. No, I think this is more so like, how do we make something so in your face? How do we make something so attention grabbing that it kind of is a joke on fashion in and of itself, if that makes sense. It's kind of like a joke on the sneaker game a little bit, that something like this is popular and sells because, there's a side of sneakers and fashion where, people appreciate design and artistry, and they like storytelling, and they like all the things that most people view as good things. And then there's a side of fashion and sneakers and streetwear and all these things where it's more about resale. It's more about how much something is valued in the aftermarket and how much something is scarce. That side of things is what I think this is trying to poke fun at, is that, as long as you have hype, as long as you have attention, you can sell a product. And I think it's continuing to prove that. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad or good thing. It's more of a lesson for the consumer, whoever's watching or listening, to be like, all right, let me decide what I actually want to engage with.
Yeah, okay. No, I feel that. I think once I learned during like the whole big red boot thing, once I learned that Mischief is like a artist, creative, like collective, rather than like a sneaker company that's trying to push well-designed sneakers, I kind of just lessened my my negative comments towards them. I was like, okay, like that's their whole purpose is to disrupt what's going on. So once I learned that, and it was like, no, we're actually trying to push sneakers because we like sneakers and we want to make the most well-constructed sneaker. I was kind of like, okay, like now I don't really care. And also, true to your point, is they absolutely get clicks. Because when I posted these on my story went crazy.
Yeah,
I was like, this is the most my story views has ever been in a long time. And it was just because of these boots, and everybody was just commenting on it. So it does create a conversation. Yeah. It does what they want it to do, as we're talking about it now. So, I mean, but I absolutely won't wear them.
Nah, there's no way. There's no way. The only reason why I feel like either one of us will wear these shoes, and it would be a bit of like a sellout kind of thing. It would be like if you want to get 20,000 views like that. You know what I mean? Like that's, if you want to bring attention to what you do on social media, you put these shoes on, people will care. People will be like, yo, those are ugly. I kind of rock with them. The conversation will just go crazy. Your story is an example.
Absolutely. I think that's gonna wrap up this conversation of this boot. But the Spike Lee cosign is pretty fire though. That's a fire cosign.
That's fire. Yeah.
But let's jump into this next article. There you go. Yep, that's up. All right, so this article title reads: Denim Tears unveils SS24, because I'm not doing it. Kiss My Grits collection. This got a lot of mixed reviews online. I was in the comment sections of Lil Jupiter just reading what's like the basic response to this, and a lot of people don't like it, considering the collection itself. I don't know if you had a chance to like really go into this, but what do you think of it so far? Or what, like, have you seen anything about it?
Yeah, no, I mean, when it comes to Denim Tears, it's a brand that I typically keep tabs of. I often showcase it like as B-roll and videos and stuff like that. They have video elements. And it's a brand that I've never owned any pieces from, so I'll get that out there for right now. But there are some things that I like, and there are some things that I think are less interesting. And we can kind of go through some of these things here. Let me see. Let me see. So on the first kind of slide here, the first page, we have kind of like this tank top situation with these pants and then the scarf kind of thing. The motif on the left of bro, or the motif you have on the screen, I have both screens coming up, but this motif right here, bro, I to me, there's something about it that it does not resonate with me too much. I think I don't like the pants. The scarf is interesting. It's like it's styled, and like the lookbook is styled very interestingly. I have to give them credit for, like, visually, a lot of the pieces are showcased in a real tasteful manner, that in such a manner that, okay, like they really went up, and they always do. They go above and beyond when it comes to displaying and showcasing the items of clothing. But for me, this doesn't really resonate with me. Now, if we go to the next one, I like this kind of gingham top. I don't know why, but for me, this top and this bucket hat is interesting. I know Denim Tears is, I'm not going to speak on something I don't know too well, but I know Denim Tears is kind of a play on this idea of how blacks were subjugated to pick cotton, and the idea that we're recapturing a bit of the value that we have from the tiers of the denim that we used to help produce in the US. That's kind of the basis of it. I think, if I'm wrong, I could be totally wrong. But for me, like, there's no extra baggage when it comes to these clothing, but I like that gingham piece. All in all, I'm kind of rambling right now. All in all, I would say there's like 20 to 30% of it that I like, and then that other, 60, 70, 80% of it that I don't. I'm not really feeling as much, but in reality too, I haven't really done as much homework on this spring summer 2024 collection because your boy's been busy. But regardless, I took a look before the talk, and I mean, there's a couple of things that I like, a couple of things I don't like.
Yeah, I think that's like the general response to. I think I like this piece a lot. I'll say that off rip. That piece,
that was hard.
The coat's fire. My
we
thing
could go
would-
through every piece and go. I mean, whatever you want to do. Obviously, this is your show. There are pieces that I like I said, like really like maybe like I could just take them out of the collection and style individually. But then there are some. It's like nah.
Yeah, we could. I'm gonna just say this point. I think we definitely should do that.
Okay, cool.
My thing about highlighting, because he not only does it with African American culture, he also does it with African people across the globe, so the diaspora of Black people. And I think he's done a really good job highlighting, like when he did like the Doc Martens Jamaica thing, and like where he's done other things. But I feel like the thing that's missing to me personally, what I would like to know is the story behind this, because when you just start putting out pieces that have, okra and watermelon and like not really giving the full layout to like what those things mean, and they're kind of have, these things have a negative connotation in some degree just because of how African American people were depicted, eating the watermelon thing and fried chicken and having chicken bones as a neck piece. I think that's the mark that he missed, because I tried to find more information on, like what's the motive behind it? What's the story you're trying to tell? And when you just put this out and you don't give that, especially if you're trying to highlight Black culture the correct way, I feel like that's the point that gets missed. Like, yeah, it's cool pieces, but like, I think it's personal when like you're a Black person in the US and you see things like this and it's like, you walk out and you're wearing a shirt with a watermelon, you got a chicken bone necklace.
Facts,
and it's
facts,
what are you
facts,
really,
facts. Yeah.
what are you really telling when, like, how do I back it? Like if I have it on, I could be like, oh, the artist thought this and this is what he was trying to do with it. But if you don't give that, then it's like, I'm just walking out looking like, I don't want to say nothing, but yeah.
like yeah, exactly. No, exactly. That's a good point. Honestly, that gives me even more context too, man. Because I think, one of the reasons why I love brands like ALD is that no matter what collection comes out, there's always a bit of visual storytelling that takes place. And when I look at the Instagram for Denim Tears and I look at the collection on Hypebeast, and even though I'm skimming through kind of like reading it, there's no like you said, there's no like definite story behind what inspired these pieces. Like what inspired the way you decided to take watermelon and okra and chicken bones, and like why do you decided to make them into clothing? Because like it's also a bit, in some ways it's a bit strange, because like while food is a big component to culture, anyone's culture, fashion, unless you're a brand that literally that's what your brand is about, it kind of creates it uses like food as a motif. It just seems a bit weird and random, like you said. It almost seems like there's an element of storytelling that's missing as a result of it. And I think, like you said, it would be great to have that like context for this collection, because it's just not. There's some pieces, if I take them away from kind of the way that they're being styled, I could see how they work. Like I could see how some of the jackets work. I could see how like this bag works, for example. I could see maybe how the pants work depending on what's on the front of them. If they're just black pants, like it could work. But I think in reality too, like the collection as an entity is a bit lackluster. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that, because I don't think it's fully out yet. I'm hoping that when it drops, because he usually does drop visuals and like he does, talk about the brand a lot just through podcasts, and like, he's very outspoken. Like if you remember the thing with Supreme. So like, yeah. I'm hoping that when this comes out, it's like, no, this is the story we're trying to tell, and he has the visuals to really capture what you're trying to do. Because if you just let this out, it's kind of just like it's like, I feel like it's gonna be a miss in my part. And I own things from Denim Tears, so like I definitely have bought things from Denim Tears, and like the quality is always good. But it's like when it's so personal to you, like such as like the Black experience in the US, I just hope it comes together better with the story itself. But I'm down to go through one through one. We could just either you can say yep or nope.
Yeah, for sure. No, one thing I want to touch on too, bro, is that it's so true. Like for example, I'm wearing a Kangol beret right now. Something that like Kangol is obviously captivated on, and there's only one Kangol store in all of North
I
America.
see that video,
and it's in Harlem.
yeah.
And like, so they understand that there's a connection with culture and clothing, and especially as a someone who's Black, African American, whatever BIPOC, whatever the terminology is, right? Like you have to be able to have that resonance and have that storytelling there. But yeah, let's go one by one.
This one, no.
Yeah, that's a not for me.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know what the pants look like, but like the top and the hat, I feel like they could do something interesting.
I wonder what this says. I can't really make it out, but the design on is dope.
Yeah. To me, meh. Like I'm not like crazy about it. Not crazy. No,
I'm not a big nah.
Not really the biggest fan of this.
Nah.
Yeah. I like this. For me, like I think this is interesting. I don't know why, but I think it's interesting.
I'll tell you what does it for me. It's a very subtle thing, but the way that they shifted the belt over here, I think that's dope. I think that's dope.
Okay.
Something small that could like a small detail.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Not really my speed either. No.
I'm interested to see what the hat looks like. That's definitely my speed. Yeah.
Okay, you rock with this one.
Beanie, no.
Actually, maybe everything's good. I like it except for the beanie. The beanie is kind of throwing me off a little bit. The
beanie looks like if you turn it upside down and you put like a wood top on it, it'd be like a nightstand. Yeah. And I'm cool. But yeah, everything else, I vibe with it.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I get that.
Nah,
this is gonna be a no for me. It's gonna be a no for me, brother.
No.
This looks like it belongs at like a mall brand or something like that. Like literally like a.
Nah, I've definitely seen this shirt. Sifting through racks at Macy's for sure.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. If you shop there, I mean,
yeah,
it's your own prerogative.
I used to work there. Nah, yeah. I'm actually not mad at this. The top. I'm not mad at it.
I'm about to go no. I'm about to disagree.
Kiss my grits. Yeah, I need more info.
Yeah.
From what I can see, yeah.
Clean, simple. I mean, you can't go wrong, I think.
Nah.
Yeah, wait, what is how is this working? Is that the pants? It
looks like there's shorts that have sweatpants under it, because I'm sure this is definitely a matching top set.
I see.
But I think this is like a different pair of shorts, which that's definitely not me.
Nah.
Oh shoot! Oh hell no! Oh no!
That's what.
Oh yeah.
See, I like this. I like the colors of this, even though the silhouette of the shape of the pants, like they're a bit small for my liking, but altogether, this is a cool little outfit. This is like a cool little look.
See, what people don't think. This is what I'm thinking. People don't understand how the impact of your shoes can kind of mess it up. Because I think if this was paired with a different pair of shoes, it could have done a little bit more. This is probably a no for me though. Here,
nah, I got you.
I'm down with it. I can't lie.
I like this. I think like I was thinking about this top because it's like a collarless button down, and it's really interesting. It kind of goes
like a baseball type, like baseball top.
Type. Yeah. I'm gonna go maybe. I'm not sure. This
goes
hard.
Yes. No. This is definitely.
This goes crazy.
This is probably the best thing in this collection. Honestly,
I agree. This jacket is very beautiful.
Nah.
This is the t-shirt, graphic tee. I mean,
is this a peach like Georgia? Like, is this what it's supposed to?
Yeah, I don't really a Georgia peach.
I don't know. I like it.
I like this
in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I could honestly see that on like a girl, honestly, more than I can see it on a dude. But you can wear whatever you want, of course.
I don't really care for it, and I think that shirt's ripped because I see the white under the neckline. So
you're telling me it's just a?
Yeah, let's go to the next one. I'll do it. I'll do this one. This is styled to me, to my style. Yeah, I'll do this whole thing.
This is the Kreativekloth look right here.
Yeah, now this
is. I'm gonna be like, Not my favorite.
Not my favorite. Nah.
Same.
Like the beanie.
The beanie is kind of cool. Hold on before we move on. I think this beanie is actually interesting because it's kind of a lot with the gingham pattern underneath, but like I feel like if you just took away the way that they styled this from like all this patterning, all this kind of like very loud, not loud, but like very attention grabbing, I think it could work. I think it could work.
It's contrast well with the white wall. So,
Yeah, for sure.
Not a fan.
No, not
and that might be just because of how like the shirt, like I don't feel like the shirt was needed.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not mad at this. Personally, I'm not mad.
I like the shape of the shirt. People don't do shirts like this anymore, man. What happened to these type of I like this shirt.
Yeah.
I don't know about all this.
What is the is that on his left leg? I can't tell from, or is that literally like is that coming down? Like what is the left
right here?
side? Yeah.
It might be like a belt or like something just like a prop to kind of add to the aesthetic.
Okay.
Looks like rope. Or it might be, I don't know. I can't really make it out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting.
All in all, it's a very unique thing. And I feel like it needs just a little bit more to kind of pull it all together. So
I think you had the strongest opinion about it. I think it needs more storytelling. That's probably the best kind of thing I would say to it. More storytelling.
Nah, for sure. But let's get into this next article. So this article title reads, Comme des Garçons shirt outfits the Asics Gel Terrain. Before we get into these shoes, what sneaker company are you leaning more towards right now?
Favorite sneaker company right now?
Yeah. Because tides are changing. I just seen a poll that said Adidas is behind I think it was like within a certain time frame, it was New Balance, Nike, and then another brand, then Adidas. I was like, wow.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was within a quarter though, so like 4 months.
Yeah. I mean, what's crazy is that it's honestly a harder question than what it used to be. Before, I would say like 2 years ago, I would say New Balance without a question for me. Like, I love New Balances at the time. I think Adidas has made strong strides. I think Nike has kind of become less relevant. I think Asics, which we're about to talk about, has become more relevant. I think brands like Hoka and like even like just like the more like running shoes, I've become more interested in, like chunkier shoes, things like that. So it's tough. I would say for me personally, I would still go with New Balance.
Oh.
I would still go with New Balance. I'm not talking about like 990s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about like very kind of niche New Balance things. I'm talking about like New Balance trail running shoes, collaboration with District Vision, or their Tokyo Design Studio segment. Like I still think New Balance has a lot of really interesting models that when I see a New Balance model on my feed, I click on it and I look at it. And I also look at Adidas too, because I think Adidas is trending and I just want to know why people care so much about all these Adidas shoes. So but yeah, that's where I'd put it.
Yeah, I think mine right now has to be Asics. Asics is, even though it's like, you know, they had the Jowns, which I think I just saw you unbox those, right?
Yeah, literally just unbox them.
Then they had that, and like I think the biggest, you know, collaborator that they've had for a long time is Kiko, and like the designs and all the different colors he does. Like I'm like, you can't ignore that. Like Kiko has been carrying Asics for a long time, and it's interesting seeing a lot of people starting to get more collabs with them. But like right now, I would definitely say Asics is that company for me. It was Solomon last year.
Solomon, I didn't even mention Solomon. Solomon's a huge player.
They had a huge last year. 2023 for Solomon was wild. Even though I wasn't able to get the pairs that I wanted just because they were so hype. No, Solomon had a great year. I don't really know I don't know what to make of these.
These Comme des Garçons shirt. I know CDG play, I've never heard of Comme des Garçons shirt. I don't even know what branch of Comme des Garçons this is, boy.
At this point,
they got so many branches. For me, these are meh. Meh. Like, I'm not excited about these. These are collaborated shoes, if that makes sense. Like a black and white shoe that's all black and all white. It says Comme des Garçons shirt on the insole. Man, I'm mad.
That's how I feel. If you've been on my channel for a long time, people know that I do not care for many of the Jown collab shoes that they do, just because I feel like it's just a name slap. You get Jown on it and now it's popular, but it's like, that's just a GR. What did you change? What happened to the shoe? I don't know. Sometimes I get it, like the Asics ones. I'm like, those decent. Like, I get it. But like a lot of the New Balances, I'm just like, that was just a name slap. The Reebok's a name slap. Like, I don't really care for it. And I feel like that's what they did here. But I'll tell you what, it falls in line with what they do though. Like, a lot of their collab shoes are either gray, black, or white.
True. Like
the Nikes that they did last year, and like even though they were more popular than this, but like the CDG foams, like, I mean, it just falls in line. These just look like same. It just look like workout shoes. I'm just like something my mom would grab and put on. I don't know. Like, I'm not,
and you're right. You know, this is what Comme des Garçons does. I think the foams they did were really fun because I just like, it was a kind of cool moment to collaborate on a shoe that is kind of deemed as a shoe of yesteryear. You know what I'm saying? But for these, I don't know. I think the gel terrain is not as much of a popular as a silhouette. And while you mentioned like Kiko, Heaven, like all the other Asics collabs that are going on, they're just so much more exciting than this. They're so much more exciting. And you're right. I mean, the more I think about it as this conversation goes on, like Asics is really on an unbelievable tear right now. And in fact, I even asked you, I remember in DM about the purple pair of Asics you have, because I was like, yo, those, like, I watched that review you did. Bro. I was like, bro, those look comfy and they're fire, bro. Like, those look sick.
The gel infinities got me. I literally plan on getting the black and the green pair just because of how they're just so easy. Like, I love that shoe. I mean, I can't.
There's not much for me to say about this. I'm just,
exactly.
Like, honestly, I go as far as to say this. I might say this. This might be a bit controversial. I'd rather have the Mischief 2x4s in my hand than this shoe right here. That's why.
I just wish they changed something. Like, I feel like for me to be satisfied, like literally just name slap. For me to be satisfied with a sneaker collab, I don't think you have to recreate the wheel. But it's like, when you go this basic on a basic silhouette, it's like that breeds basic and it's not gonna breed anything to talk about. Which I may not just be their demographic, and that's perfectly fine. I may not be that person, but
for sure.
I just think this is like a no for me. And what they said, $312. Yeah, no, I'm good. Same. That's insane.
Yep. I'll tell you, I have nothing more to say about it. I'm good on that.
I'll tell you who's also creeping up, and I feel like people better start paying attention to it now before it becomes so trendy and they're getting a lot of collabs and the price goes up. But Saucony, low key has been having some great runs, and I think I don't know if you've seen the J Tips.
I'll look it up right now.
Nah, the J Tip Saucony collab was like, again, you're taking a company that isn't like really
actually. Sorry to cut you off.
The company isn't booming per se, like, you know, over like a Nike, Adidas, and like New Balance, but like you're taking a silhouette and you're taking a company that doesn't really have a lot of buzz. They're giving you an opportunity and you kill it and execute it like that.
Yep.
And I think they're giving them more range to do more. So I think Saucony, and they had the Markless Shark too that he had did.
Yep. I think you're right, man. I think you're right, because Saucony is one of those brands that, and I don't know when it'll happen. I think they're long overdue for a stint with the big boys, so to speak. Right? I put them out of the category of that top 5, right? And I mean, you can debate all day about what the top 5 are in terms of the for the sneaker game, but I think Saucony is it's just on the outside looking at some of these other brands. But there have been a ton of collaborations. I even worked on a collaboration with a super small company called Color Plus here in New York. They came out with, I can't remember the name of the model, but they came out with this super clean pair of Sauconys. And Saucony was kind of specifically picking out a lot of small brands to do collaborations with. Like I know Marcus Milioni got a collaboration. I know Mark Lachart got a collaboration, like you mentioned. Brands like that are under 50K, under 100K, but like was working with those brands, like that's unheard of. Brands like that don't get collaborations. And so it was kind of cool to see that, because it was almost like Saucony was kind of trying to do this grassroots effort to enter into the sneaker game, even though they've been around for a long time. They're not new to the game, but they were trying to push themselves in front of a new audience. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's the time will come when Saucony gets its day in the sun. That's for sure. But it's interesting to see that some people pay attention, some people don't, and it's fascinating. It's fascinating. That's all I'll say. It's fascinating.
If he said it 3 times, he meant it. Damn it. But that is going to conclude the articles. I think this is a perfect time to go into, talking about who you are as a person and where you're going with your journey, because, we all started at one point, and, the journey that you've had is like a run that I've never seen before, especially being there at the very start of it. Now I give you, bro, I always try to give people their flowers while they're here, because
thank you.
A lot of times we're so focused on that next achievement that we don't really live within that moment of like you're living somebody's dream. So I definitely always try to give flowers when credit is due, for sure.
That's a good point.
And again, I always try to tell people on here, I'm not a journalist. I ask the questions that I want to know. So if you want to ask any questions, start your own podcast and get Drew on there. So the first question that I have for you is, because people see it, when you get to a certain point with success and you get a lot of newcomers, they don't see the beginning stages. Okay. They only see when you blew up, and they see, the things that you're currently doing. So like, take me back to that time, if you can remember, like what was that most pivotal moment in your social media journey, your content journey, your life journey?
No, for sure. It was funny. I just went back because I have a hard drive with all my videos. I started making content 2020. So I started during the pandemic, and I did it because, during the pandemic, like you didn't have much to do besides kind of figure out that what do you want to do with your life? Like it's a crazy time. Right. So, I started with the podcast, then I started making YouTube September 2020. And I just look back at my hard drive to see that I did a 2K Q&A. And when I did the 2K Q&A, I had been doing YouTube for 7 months. And so it's interesting. Like you forget the timeline of what it took to get to where you are. But once that momentum starts to barrel through, like you really start to gain momentum and things start to move quickly. But I would say that's not my pivotal moment. My pivotal moment, there's two. There's one when I reached my first 1,000 subscribers, which probably took me around, I probably would say around 6 months, right? And, for some might say that that's a long time. For others might say that's a super short amount of time. But when I first hit the first 1,000 subscribers, that was for me like a proof that like I could do it. Like 1,000 people clicked subscribe on my ideas about talking about fashion. Like that's crazy. And so for me, from there, it gave me ultimate confidence to continue what I was doing. At the same time, simultaneously, that was for YouTube. I decided, and I think for me, do people call you Kreativekloth out here or Greg? I can't remember.
Nah, it just depends. Certain people, they take out the creative part. They just call me Cloth.
Cloth?
Yeah, it's just Cloth.
For sure. So for me, Cloth, man, like the The see, I try to didn't roll out.
Oh, I thought you were just asking from other people. Nah, just call me Greg.
No, I know. For me, Greg, man, when I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, at the same time, I decided that, okay, I'm gonna try to do TikTok. Now, I don't know how you feel about TikTok. I don't know how you feel about Reels. Some people like, some people don't like. You can have your opinion either way. But I would say, for me, one of the biggest pivotal moments that happened for me is when I decided, okay, I'm gonna try TikTok and I'm gonna go as hard as I can at this. In which I posted 3 videos every single day. Kind of like, it's a cliche story that you hear from time to time online. I posted 3 videos every single day on TikTok for a month, and my account went from 0 to 60K. Super simple videos. I just highlighted underrated sneakers that I thought were cool that weren't getting the attention. At the time on TikTok, it was all about Jordan 1s, Dunk Lows, and it was all about, yeah, I guess I would just say those 2 shoes, Jordan 1s and Dunk Lows. And so I was like, guys, like, there's other shoes besides Jordan 1s and Dunk Lows. Let me highlight those. So for me, it was those 2 things. 1K on YouTube, 60K on TikTok. I was like, I'm off to the races. I can make this something where it is now. And, you know, I have the following that I have now. It's good. I'm very happy with it, of course, but there's also a lot more that I would love to achieve.
No, that's real. That's real. I think I be forgetting too. Like, I'm the person that's in charge. I'm just like,
cloth. I said cloth. That's what threw you off. When I said cloth, he was like, "Yo, hold on."
All right, I'm gonna just move to the next question. And if it come back, we go sit here and ramble.
Sure.
Cause something that I just remember seeing, you know, just following you, and then you start the second Instagram account for the pod. It's just like, bro, you were getting anyone and everyone under the sun. I'm like, I'm figuring out people like who are big people.
Mm.
I'm finding out about their account through your podcast.
Mm.
So like, just talk to me about that run, because like, you literally were getting like anyone and everyone to share their perspective on fashion, which I think is dope, because like, people tend to only focus on, you know, the top shotters, like the ones that people really like want to hear from. But like, you're getting people that's like, you know, at the 1K, 2K mark, and like really spotlighting them. So kind of just walk me through like how you started the podcast, and like what's the mentality that you have with it.
For sure. And you were one of those people, right? You were one of those people who, you know, maybe they knew about Kreativekloth at Kreativekloth on Instagram, but they probably had never really heard your voice, because during that time frame, it was mostly about taking fit pics, and you had the lean. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had these kind of characters on social media, on Instagram, that they didn't really have a voice. They had good style. They took really creative photos. They were products of the pandemic. They produced content as a result of the pandemic, but no one really had talked to them. And for me, bro, it was important there's something that you have to keep in mind. When I started, I was not as, like, my brain wasn't as tuned in to talking about fashion as it is today. Like you said, what people see of me now is not how I started. When I started, I was a lot of a lot of stumblings. The editing wasn't as crisp, and there's still a long way to go for me when it comes to learning these things. But like, I wasn't able to talk to people because I was nervous, and I didn't really have a fashion background like I am today. And so I knew that, like, I didn't want to start my podcast by trying to become or try to pretend like I'm someone that I'm not. I know that I have a lot to learn, but let me try to but let me try to work on myself on people who are less high stakes, right? Not to say that you're not high stakes. You were high stakes. You were high stakes. But there is an element of, like, if I'm talking to someone who has 2,000 followers and I say something, oh shit, I said the wrong thing, and it's just a guy with 2,000 followers. It's not like the CEO of Nike or something like that. Like, it's not something that's cancelable, right? So that kind of played in the back of my mind. And then also, I just have always wanted to uplift those who didn't get to shine. I feel like that right now. Like, the reason why I want to be on Cloth Talk right now is because hopefully 10% of my audience comes and watches this and is like, yo, this dude, Gregory Cooper, this is a dope ass dude. Like, I need to support and follow this dude's channel. Like, exactly. In fact, because I feel that way about you. I felt that way about you. And there's so many other people out there who And obviously as I get bigger and the less time I have, it's hard to spread this time out. But like there's so many people out there doing really cool things, and I try to highlight them even today. That's always been a part of who I am as an individual. Because when I was growing up, like I felt like in some ways that I wasn't highlighted. I felt like I was kind of ignored and when it comes to certain things, whether it was basketball or school or friends or girls or whatever it is. So I try to pay it backwards in that respect. So that's like the motivation behind why I chose the guest I did. Because you look at a Nike, you look at a Calvin Klein, you look at a Vans or an Adidas or a North Face. I'm talking so fast right now. Let me just hold on. I'm about to
be like that.
I'm about to lose my breath.
Passionate.
I'm passionate, bro.
That's
like
what
I'm
you
actually
call
so
bars.
excited. Exactly, bro. I'm so passionate about it. But of all these organizations, Nike, VF Corp, you have Vans, you have North Face, you have New Balance, you have all these people, and we only talk about Teddy Santis, or we only talk about Joe Freshgoods, or what I'm saying? Like we only talk about the biggest collaborators, but in the room there are 25 other people not named Joe Freshgoods who are working on the shoe, right? And they have a perspective, they have a voice, they have intent, they have passion, just like Joe Freshgoods. And it's the same with any organization, right? If you think about sports, I know you're like not the biggest sports dude, but if you think about sports, like if you think about a team, one or two guys gets all the attention. But there's 15 guys on a basketball team. And that's the way it is with organizations in business too, and in fashion. So if you can talk to the people who are the other 13 guys or the other 13 girls, whatever it may be, they have something to say too. There's value in them. There's value in their perspective. And that's where I always try to extract that value from.
No, that's real. I think I want to go back to something you said about, it may be better terminology. You saying like practicing on somebody who was 2K, but it's like you got to think about life and steps to get to a certain point. So it's like it's practice. Like I may not be the most savvy person when it comes to sports, but like Kobe was in the gym when people weren't. Kobe was in the gym even though they just won a game, and it's like those little steps, no matter how big or how little it was, like that got him to the point that he's at. And now he's like a forever known name in basketball.
He's a legend.
So I just want people to know, like a motto that I stand by and live by is slow motion is better than no motion. Long as you're moving forward with it and you continuing with it, just stay the track and stay the path, and like it'll get there eventually. Stop worrying about, I'm not there yet, looking at other people's success. Like just focus on your own trajectory and you'll get there quicker. I swear to God, you will. I promise you will.
Totally. Not to interject, bro, because this is inspiring other people is like why I started making social media, why I started posting on social media. And like that's so true. Like run your race. I always say after any time I have an accomplishment, another 50,000 followers or I'm at 200,000, I post the screenshot of the follower account. Pay attention next time I do it. I always say run your race, because I'm not comparing myself to Kreativekloth or to some celebrity, right? Wisdom. I'm running my own race. I can't compare myself. He has his talent, his skill level, his blessings that are on his life. I don't want his blessing. I want my own. I want to be able to achieve my own greatness and my own respect. Run your race, just like you said.
No, that's a fact. Nah, we spin. We spin. No, we spin.
Talking that click clack.
And that's like the perfect segue into the second to last question. Yep. Is whenever I go to your page, whether it be YouTube, I'm not really on TikTok because I don't know, it was just something in my brain. Like I'm already on too many apps, and I never want to be that person to be like, I can't post on Threads, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Like it's too much for me, because that's what I do for actual work and like my real day-to-day job. And I'm always on social media.
Right.
But again, the main ones there where I consume your content is Instagram, YouTube, and I see your tweets on Twitter too. How do you maintain your confidence, bro? Like, and to speak to somebody that may not, be as confident that they want to start YouTube, they want to start Instagram. I don't know how to take pictures. Like, how did you build this confidence? Because every time I see your videos, like you like, yeah, this the fit today, or like, it's just radiating, bro. So like really, speak to the individuals out there that like they're looking for, how do I build my own confidence?
Wow, bro. Thank you. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize I came up there. That's cool. For me, I think confidence comes from doing, failing, and then trying again, if that makes sense. So like I'll give you an example. Like real example. When I first started making content, everything was, in the comfort of the room that I was living in, right? And it still is. Like we're both in our homes, like we're doing this, we're recording. And there's a different level of pressure when you're talking to yourself to a camera, or you're talking to yourself on camera versus like if you're talking to yourself with a live audience, or if you went outside and we just started having a conversation outside and people were listening. And so I think that every step of my content journey comes with doing, evaluating whether or not it worked or whether it was good, which is failing, and then realizing that maybe I can do it better next time, and then trying again. Like I'm not someone, my confidence comes from like beating the hammer on the nail over and over and over and over again. And like once you realize that most people, there's a couple of things. Once you realize that most people don't really care that much about whether you succeed or if you fail, for me, that gives me a little bit of confidence, because like if I mess up, like next week, tomorrow, they're going to forget. They might laugh at me for a little bit, if it's a friend or if it's a coworker, if it's your mom or your dad or your brother, your sister, like they might laugh at me for a little bit, but if I keep trying, I keep going at it, they will respect the effort that I'm putting into this. If it's someone who's like a long-term person in your life, right? So I think there's that element. There's the element of continuously trying, failing, trying and failing. And then there's an element of once you do achieve something, once you are successful at, creating content, maybe you have a video that gets 20,000, you can kind of use success as a way to remind yourself, like, I am that dude, like I am that man, or I am that woman, because success, it kind of builds on itself. Once you realize that I can do something once, then you probably can do it again. And I just try to remind myself that every time I go and make a new video, go to make a new post, or I try to remind myself that if I feel like I'm not feeling confident today, that today I talked to NPR, like the interview before this, I just had a conversation with NPR. Before, I've worked with Nike, Adidas, Google, like I've been New Balance. I've worked with so many different brands and had different conversations. I've been in commercials. Like I've done, at this point, like if I'm not confident, that's the imposter. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to be, I am confident now, because I've repeatedly showed myself and showed my humanity that I'm a winner in that regard. And obviously there's more to do. I'm not going to be cocky about it, but like I have a lot more that I want to achieve, but like I know that I've been able to do these things in the past, and I should build off of that. That's a long answer, but that's what I got.
No, that's the real answer. That's the answer that people go want to hear. I don't care how long it is. they either go either go pick up the knowledge or they not. Yeah. And I want to add on to something you said, because you pretty much said, like, I'm gonna paraphrase it. I'm gonna put it in the way that I understood it. My mom, when she was raising me, always taught me, people go talk about you either way. Even when you winning, they go talk about you. Even when you're doing bad, they go talk about you. So like that definitely gives me confidence, because like no matter what, like I could be doing charity and I could be filming it on camera. Somebody could be like, why you gotta film it on camera?
Thanks.
It's like you can't win. Like it's either you just go do what you want to do and just be, confident about it and don't care what other people think, or you're gonna take all that in and internalize it, and then you're not gonna do anything. So it's like people go talk about you regardless. Like I'm sure you still get hate comments. I'm sure you still get people saying like, oh, that wasn't that good, or that wasn't. It's just a part of the game when you put yourself out there.
Bro, all the time, bro. Literally, you said you were looking at Lil Jupiter's comments on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Lil Jupiter just commented on one of the videos I made about sneakers, saying that like I was gaslighting the video. Like it does, like I can't make it up. You know what I'm saying? Like it, no matter like idols become rivals. I still got a lot of love for Lil Jupiter. Like let's not get it twisted. It's great. It's great. Mm. But like no matter what, you can't evade people having opinions about you. It's not gonna happen. Like people are gonna think you're a bum, or they're gonna think you're winning, or you're weird, or you're good, or you're bad. Like it's just always gonna be. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I had to.
No, you good. Yeah. He gonna come to this video just for that one part and be like, man,
yeah, exactly.
But then also people don't understand, like Two, why I think it's funny, I laugh a lot. I love, like, that's just me. I like, if I could laugh once in a day, I'm happy with the day.
Mm.
I don't think people understand when you leave hate comments and you sharing it somewhere else, like, man, look at this terrible. Like, I see it with Wisdom's post. Like, people will take his TikTok, put it on Twitter and be like, man, he can't dress worth a, and they'd be like, and then like that one video on Twitter has like 1 million impressions. All you did was just transfer that traffic over to his TikTok. Nice. All you did was just get more exposure for him. So like, it's all a part of the game. And it's like, I don't know, if people ain't talking about you, then you probably ain't doing it right, really.
That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes.
Sure. Last question here. Actually, no, you already talked about that. I'll go back to this other question. Because I know you're still continuing the pod. Sure. Is there anyone that you're like, I absolutely need to get this person on here because I'm so interested in hearing their perspective about fashion?
I think I just this year I had the biggest guess that if you asked me this January 1 of 2024, it would have been Jason Jules, who is the author of Black Ivy. I've always wanted to have him on the podcast, and I've been planning to have him on for over a year. Not to his knowledge, but I just knew I wanted to have him on. But I just had him on, and that was a really great episode. I would say now, and you know, I still want to have guests who are, you know, don't get to shine, but Jason Jules is a bit of a bigger player. He's a bit more well known. He's Garmsville on Instagram if you don't know about him. But there's a book called Amatura. It's by W. David Marks. I would love to have W. David Marks on the podcast. That would be a cool interview to talk about Japan, Japanese fashion, Japanese Americana, how Japan saved American style. That's the title of the book. But it would be really cool to have him as a guest on the show. At some point it'll happen. I know it will, because Jason Jules is a good friend of W. David Marks, and he's already connected me with him. And if I asked, I know it'd probably happen, but it's all about timing for me. So for me, I just want to wait on the right time for that. So
yeah, you know what's funny too, which is going to also help that he's also a subscriber. Hey, let's go ahead and get him on. Could you imagine, bro? Like, actually, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bring him out. He's here.
He's here right now. Get him tuned in.
It's funny because like something I always get him mic'd up. He's coming out.
That's hilarious.
It's funny because I always try to like, I don't know how, if you feel this way. I always pride myself on, I don't do what everybody else is doing. Like once I see somebody's on that lane, like of course podcasts are universal. So I can't say like, oh, I saw Drew doing this, so I'm gonna hop on the pod. I'm gonna make my own podcast. I feel like I found my format, and I'm like, that's my format now. And it's so interesting because even within that space, like people that you would want to interview, I wouldn't say I wouldn't want to interview them, but they're not the people that are at my top of my list. Like one of the dudes I had on 2 KLOTH talks ago, this dude named Drew Henderson. I've been following this dude for a long ass time. Like one of the first people to ever inspire my fashion before I even got on Instagram. Right. And I don't think he understands the gravity of that, because I was like, bro, I was literally going out and buying specific items that you were wearing when I was a kid, bro. Crazy. And I was just like, that's fucking wild. Yeah. So it's like, it's so dope just like having that understanding. Like there's so many players when it comes to fashion, and you necessarily won't interview the people that I interview. And like, there's no cross like stepping on toes and like all that other stuff. Not. Like, I just think it's because we all have different, like, this is that person for me. This is that person for me.
There's so many people. There's so many players, bro. I started to realize that when I moved to New York, bro. Like the amount of people that there are in the world who care about fashion, the amount of creators there are who care about fashion, who we don't even touch any of their content because we care about streetwear and sneakers and ASICs, and like there's people who care about like such niche archival fashion.
Yeah,
they watch one of our videos and they're like, these guys, these pups,
they don't even know. They don't even know,
right? Like that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's the world is big, right? There's There's literally other fish in the sea, and that's, I mean, that's a dating pun, but like it's true about podcasting too. It's true. Yep.
And I think that's done with the questions that I have right now. I think the perfect way to close this out is with, you know, so many people jumping into fashion content. I mean, just from when we started to where it is now, and how many people are like, let's say big, or like, you know, have a name. If you're somebody who's like, they're watching your stuff, there's like, I just want to know, how do I start? Like, how do I jump in? Like, where's my lane? Where's my, you know, because there's so many people, like, is my content even going to be seen? Like, what advice would you give somebody trying to jump in this space, understanding how, I wouldn't say saturated, but it's like, it is saturated. Like, there's so many people trying to be that person. So like,
correct.
Hear your stance on that.
For sure, bro. It's definitely saturated, but there's opportunity. You have to keep that mentality front of mind. It's saturated, but there's immense opportunity. Immense opportunity. And I'm saying that like I need more competition. I don't want that much competition.
Hey, but let me just say this. I welcome it. I welcome it because people may look at my Instagram and be like, oh, he fell off. But it's like, I'm not in it just for like a year or 2 or 3. Like, if my lifespan is expected to be 65, like, the thing about me that separates from other people is I'm gonna do it till I'm 65 then. Like,
some 40 years.
Yeah, some people go give up around the 2-year mark. Some people go give up in a year. So it's like, yeah, it's competition, but like, how long are you in it? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Sure. No, you're good. That's such a good point. That's such a good point. And I'm the same way. Like, I'm looking at this long term as opposed to looking at it like short term. Obviously, we've both been doing it for a relatively long amount of time. Some people have already given up. You can see who those people are. Like, I have people in my mind. But so for someone who's starting out, I think that the most important thing, if you want to try to grow, help gain an audience, is that my question to you is what type of value are you going to bring to someone who's scrolling on their phone? Value is defined as when someone stops, or when someone's scrolling and they stop on your video, are you going to educate them? Are you going to make them laugh, like entertain them? Or are you going to do some sort of something? Sorry. Let me get it right. Are you going to educate them? Are you going to inspire them? Or are you going to entertain them, right? Are you going to do one of those 3 things? I think that's kind of the formula for social media right now. You're going to do one of those 3 things. And if you can do it at the highest level, if you're incredibly funny, you'll gain an audience. If you're an incredible form of inspiration, you'll gain an audience. If you are incredibly entertaining, then you'll gain an audience. And there's more than one way to do that, right? You can talk, you can not talk, you can show your outfits, you can use music. There's so many different ways. But I think that if you want to do it faster than slower, I mean, there's some people who grew from 0 to 400K in a month, a year, whatever it is. If you want to do it faster than what I did, or than what Kreativekloth has done, which he's doing fantastic as well, is you have to find a way to differentiate yourself, which that is the toughest part. How do I look at Kreativekloth or Drew Joyner or Wisdom and decide who should I follow? Who should I support? Obviously, Wisdom has a gift. He truly has a gift in terms of being able to edit, showcase, and make people pay attention to his outfits. Drew Joyner has a level of a gift. Kreativekloth has a level of a gift, right? And as each individual, Wisdom, I think he's like 22 years old. He was just at the Oscars.
Are you like serious?
Crazy. He's just 22 years old. His path, his trajectory is to the stratosphere, and so is anyone else. I mean, yours is too. Mine is too. It's just, you have to figure out a way to differentiate yourself. Bro, sometimes this is what happening to my videos.
I'll be saying this.
I'll be done. I can't talk no more, bro.
Again, my subscribers know words are hard. No, literally, bro. I say it all the time.
For real. Words are hard. Here we go. We're restarting. If you keep this in, that's fine. Okay. It does not matter. Okay. Does not matter. This happens all the time. This is the last point I want to nail into each person. If you're listening to this deep into the cloth talk, okay? If you want to make it on social media, you have to differentiate yourself. Number one, that's the biggest thing. Your content has to be different from others. And as you're differentiating yourself, you have to bring value in one of these three ways. You educate, you entertain, or you inspire. And then you'll be off to the races.
No, that's fire. That's so true, man. Let me just say this, man. Absolutely appreciate you coming on. I think this is definitely gonna go down, even though it's only March, and I'm like just saying that. I think this is gonna go down as one of my favorite ones, just because of how much knowledge that was shared, and also just the perspective. Like,
thank you, bro.
This definitely feels a little bit different from other ones that I've had. So I appreciate you being on here today. And because one thing we don't have enough of is time. So I always want to recognize that. But that is gonna wrap up this episode of Cloth Talk.
But I love the way you work it. Hey, I love the way you work it.